Rest assured, this video contains no spoilers for the story, lore, or mystery of the Outer Wilds. But let's talk about that real quick. It is incredibly rare for a game like Outer Wilds to come along and for it to be one of the least talked about games on the market. For real, check out the game's own dedicated subreddit and all you'll find are redacted jokes, memes about never spoiling the game, and people wishing for horrible memory loss so they can play it again for the first time. The fanbase for Outer Wilds is an anomaly, keeping discussion behind closed doors not with the intention to gatekeep, to prevent new fans of the game from discovering how beautiful it truly is, but specifically with the intent to do the opposite. The fans of this game are absolutely dedicated to welcoming new players into their space as much as is humanly possible, but with the caveat that they want these new players to have the best possible experience with the game. So in this video, I'm going to be trying my best to avoid any possible spoilers, not just for the game's story, but for the puzzles and mysteries contained within it. Outer Wilds is without a doubt best experienced with no prior knowledge. But unlike other games where this fresh perspective would help develop your own thoughts and feelings about the game, Outer Wilds takes it a step further. Everything about how this game is structured leans on player knowledge. That means by spoiling Outer Wilds in any capacity, we're not just changing someone's perspective of a story or influencing their interpretation, or even just ruining the surprise. We are fundamentally changing their ability to experience the game in any meaningful way. So that's what all of this is about, an unclassified guide to Outer Wilds and why people love it so darn much. So you clicked on this video. You may already know what Outer Wilds is, or maybe it was just recommended to you by a friend. But if you don't already know, Outer Wilds, on its surface, is a physics-based space exploration game. Delve any amount beneath that crust, however, and it becomes an immensely compelling anthropological mystery. As the game's Steam page puts it, you are the newest recruit of the Outer Wilds Ventures, a fledgling space program searching for answers in a strange, constantly evolving solar system. The only catch is, you're stuck in a time loop. Every 22 minutes, time forcefully restarts, sending you right back to where you began, with nothing to show for it except for the knowledge you've uncovered along the way. Think something almost like Majora's Mask, or if you're a movie person, Groundhog Day. The game itself doesn't really give you any inherent goal other than, hey, go look at space, which tends to trip people up at first, especially if you're the type of person who mainly enjoys AAA experiences. Outer Wilds doesn't exactly have an arrow pointing you in the direction you have to go all the time. But that's kind of the point. Outer Wilds is a game about exploration and discovery. You choose the path by yourself. But that brings me to the primary subject of this video. What makes Outer Wilds so gosh darn enjoyable? Well, that has something to do with what's called intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. Intrinsic motivation is when you do something just for fun. There's no reward attached to whatever activity you're doing, other than the inherent enjoyment of it. Think back to when you were in elementary school. I'm sure most people have bounced a ball on the walls of their school with their friends. There's no reward for doing so. You're not getting paid, and it won't improve your grades. It's just something fun to do. Meanwhile, extrinsic motivation is the polar opposite. This is when you're motivated to perform a task due to some outside factor. You do your homework in order to get good grades. You do your job so you can get paid. You battle your Pokemon so you can get experience points. And you grind through games of Overwatch so you can get that sweet, sweet loot box. As a general rule, the more extrinsic motivation that exists in a game, the less intrinsic motivation a player will have. A lot of developers will lean on extrinsic motivators to help guide players in the right direction, offering them a clearly defined goal and a reward for performing certain tasks. This can help lead the player into the more interesting bits of the crafted experience. It can also help to ensure that players access tutorials that they may have skipped otherwise, and thus reduce confusion later on. But our most enjoyable and our most memorable experiences tend to be in games that don't lean too heavily into extrinsic motivators. Outer Wilds does away with them entirely. You don't gain experience points for exploring. There are no skills to improve. You don't get new or better gear. There are no currencies or collectibles, and there sure as heck is no explicitly stated goal. That is for you to find on your own. At the end of each 22-minute cycle, everything starts over. The whole solar system is reset. If you had an inventory that could be wiped, it would be. And as a result, the only thing that stays is your knowledge. Coincidentally, the only thing the developer can't take away, though I'm sure many fans of the game wish they could. What you're left with is a completely open experience driven solely by the player's motivation to play. That can be daunting for a lot of people, and the most common reason I've seen for people who have tried Outer Wilds and didn't like it was, well, they didn't know what they were supposed to do. This is one downside to having a complete lack of extrinsic motivators, but it's also an issue with the gaming industry as a whole, especially big AAA titles. People have grown accustomed to having extremely clear objectives. Even in large open games like Breath of the Wild, you have initial quests to guide the player along, while Nintendo silently hopes that you'll be distracted by all the cool crap that stands just off the beaten path. And to their credit, Mobius Digital, the people who made Outer Wilds, do a very good job of seeding the player with information early on, given they're paying attention. If you even so much as explore the little initial area the game starts you out in, and you do have to in order to get the launch codes for your spacecraft, you'll meet lots of characters who will give you lots of interesting little tidbits of information. If you're stuck and don't know where to start, my suggestion is to follow up on some of those. Here's something neat about one of the other planets? Go check that out first. It won't take long for you to discover enough information to keep you going on your own. And if you ever get stuck, well, thank goodness your ship has a little journal that'll let you know if there's more to explore here. So, to answer the question of what is the point of Outer Wilds, well, it's not that simple. The end goal of the game is something you'll have to piece together yourself. The real objective is to explore, learn, and discover. The game offers enough compelling story to keep that train rolling for a long time. Keep it rolling long enough, and everything will click into place, revealing the secrets of the universe. You don't need to start the game knowing that you need just go out, explore, and have fun. There's no wrong way to do it. Outer Wilds is one of the best games I have ever played. That's no exaggeration. Mobius Digital has managed to craft an experience that will stick with me for the rest of my life. Discovering something new like this is a feeling that I haven't had since I was a child, and with the DLC, Echoes of the Eye, they somehow managed to do it twice. My original plan to start this year on the channel was to do another top 10 games I played last year video, but Outer Wilds was such a wholly enriching experience that I felt like talking about anything else would have been an injustice. This is the best game I will play in 2022, and I have a feeling it'll be a very long time before we see another game this great. Thanks for watching.